trading. Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Day Traders FX and Jared Johnson. If this is the first time you're joining me, you can hook yourselves up with a free trial to the trade group right at that link, daytradersfx.com/join. And you have a couple of options. You can get a free trial and just try it out for a week. You can do what somebody else tried to do a couple months ago, which was get a free trial under a new email address. And I kept seeing that they just kept using the same name, which was funny. Same name, different email address. And they got like 3 free trials, and it was hilarious. And I didn't really care that much. And I thought it was funny that somebody would go through all that effort to save a few bucks while they're making money. And it just, anyway, it was funny. But you can get a free trial, and we'd love to have you. So go to that website, check it out. This week we've got a bit of news this week. It's definitely not one of those heavy news weeks. We have some Yellen speaking to some college students at the end of the week, and then we have some GDP numbers for the U.S. at the end of the week. So that should be exciting. But all before then, we've got some good stuff across the board. We saw a little bit of Canadian news from central bank in Canada today. We've got some bank holidays in Japan. Going today and tomorrow, so yen pairs might be a little bit slow moving. Nothing too exciting on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got some good stuff. We've got some flash manufacturing PMI numbers in Europe. We've got Canadian retail sales. We've got Draghi speaking Wednesday morning. We've got trade balance for New Zealand. We've got some German, some German and some Euro news. Durable goods for the U.S., unemployment claims. So we've got a decent. This is like a perfect news week. It's not a ton, and it's not too little. It's just right. When there's huge news, it's just wild swings every day. When there's no news, it's kind of boring. And this is just a nice little balance. So I'm looking forward to this week. So Apple's buying $10 billion in stock, a buyback, which is going to cut into their $150 billion they have sitting in the bank account in the Cayman Islands. We've seen some interesting movements. Stocks are just so up and down. Everything is up and down. Oil is stuck in this kind of mid 40s area. The Dow will be up 100 points one day and down 100 points one day, and the S&P same thing, and it's all just bleh. And so it's nothing too terribly crazy exciting. But surprisingly, there's turning out to be some pretty good trading opportunities from that. Here's the dollar index, real super quick. We've talked about this dollar index and this 9,300 area being kind of that key reversal point. The dollar index is staying nicely above that 9,300. The dollar index is a good one to look at ish. It's heavily euro, but it's still, it still gives us a pretty decent look at everything. And we've got a nice little just wedge forming in the dollar index here, bouncing around this area. So far so good there. Nice double bottom seems to be holding, and we're seeing a little bit of dollar strength, but I think it's going to be some chop. You can see that the dollar went into this channel sometime around March of this year. It kind of ran up February, March, and then it just started to channel March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and we're totally in a sideways channel for the dollar index, and we can see that pretty apparent on a lot of dollar pairs. Here's something I love. I love when my trend lines move from where I put them. Okay, no, it's not that actually. I love this little comparison chart. This is dollar yen compared to the S&P 500. We have any Spanish speakers here? No? I don't think we do have any Spanish speakers. Okay. So the S&P 500 is doing this, and the dollar yen is doing this. So this is the S&P down here below, just kind of bouncing around. Dollar yen up top. Big drop in the S&P with a little bear flag forming. Decent drop in dollar yen, bear flag forming. We're going to see if these two can break out semi-simultaneously. And you'll see that I am pretty excited about yen pairs this week. In fact, they're probably my biggest focus again this week, and we've got some pretty excellent trading opportunities that we'll be watching for. But let's watch this chart. Let's see how this guy goes, and kind of where it plays out. We'll just send that chart over, and SPX. Boom. There you go. So that should be interesting. We'll see how that all goes. Okay. So here's what I'm looking for. Euro dollar is giving us some interesting movement this week to start everything off. It's already had a pretty big movement. So right as the market closed on Friday, it just tanked, right? We were looking at this bull flag right here, and just kind of keeping an eye, seeing if it could hold that 113.95, 1400 area. It plowed through that right before, kind of right before the market closed. Sideways, made another little bull flag or bear flag, and broke down. Now, what does that mean for us, and where do we think that the euro dollar might be headed? The euro dollar is breaking this kind of somewhat bigger trend line right here and heading down. And I'm looking for the euro dollar. I'd love to see it just come down and hit this 110 area. And I think we have a pretty good chance of some of this crazy activity happening. If it runs down and hits 110, I'm going to be buying the crud out of the euro dollar and seeing if we can get this back up. I still am gunning for 118. I'm still shooting for this 38% fib up here at 118. This is one of those things when I turn into like a naggy, watch 118, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's tired of hearing about 118. But when these kinds of things happen, these kinds of setups, this is a weekly chart. This is a huge play. The euro dollar is going to hit 118. It's just going to hit it. And the technicals are screaming in our face. It's just whether we want to be on board for that run or not. And I, for one, do want to be on board for it. But I think we could get the euro dollar as low as kind of that 110, 110.50 area. And I'm really looking for it there. Of course, I want to see it, hit some trend lines and do some of that. This is a huge channel that it's in right now. I want to see it hit some trend lines, hit some activity, hold kind of that 110, 110.50 area, give us some reversal candles. And then I'm just going to start buying this thing, and I'm going to trade it up to 118, hopefully, but at least up into the 114.15 area again, and hopefully into that 118. But I'm looking for a bit of a dip to continue to happen here. So what I would like to see is a little bit of pullback on this euro dollar. We're sitting here at about 111.87. I'd like to see this thing pull back to around 112.25 zone, kind of retest this trend line in that whole area, and then continue dropping from there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on euro dollar at this point, and I think that could be a really, really nice little move and a really nice little bit of activity there. So a little bit of pullback, and let's look to continue shorting euro dollar around the 112.10, 112.20 kind of area. Keep some stops tight. If it starts to move higher, then this could be the low point for it right now. But I want to get a little bit of that pullback and keep trading this down into the mid 110. And then from there, from 110, 50 zone, start trading this back up to 114, 115, and ultimately 118. And I think we've got a good chance for that. So I think the euro dollar would be great. Should be a good one there. If anybody is really curious about the pound dollar, I have no idea what this is going to do, but it's going to break out eventually, and it's going to give us something. But look at this daily chart. Look at this weekly chart. It's for half of a year. It's been sitting in a sideways channel since May. Ran up in May, and then it's just totally flat. So I have no idea what the pound dollar is going to do, and I don't have any intentions on taking any trades anytime soon on the pound dollar. Aussie dollar is borderline interesting. The only thing that I'm looking at here is that it's broken out of this multi-month channel. It's got some decent numbers on the daily chart and the indicator. We've got a pretty good amount of missed pivots, and the 200 moving average is kind of calling our name just a bit. So if it can hold about the 7,100, then Aussie dollar might be good if it can hold 7,100, but I doubt it's going to be able to. But if it can, that'll be a nice trade. Otherwise, I have nothing that I'm looking for on that one. Euro CAD's bouncing around a lot. Dollar CAD's bouncing around a lot. These are all kind of just chopping around. I've been combing through charts all day long. And really, I think that yen pairs, once again, are going to be some of our more exciting trades. So remember, we looked at this huge kind of bearish flag that we have on the dollar yen. Now it's retraced a bunch, and it's pulled back up almost to the 61.8, which kind of invalidates bear flags usually, or bull flags of any type. but I'm still going to hold out on this one. I'm still going to look for opportunities to short dollar yen around 12100. Now, I'm not just going to put a pending order in at 12100 and cross my fingers. I'm going to hope that when it gets up there, it gives us a little bit more of a signal, like a candlestick, like something that we can work with around 12100 that will give us a little bit of confidence in shorting this and trading it right on down. Because I think it's a really great opportunity to short. So I want to be short dollar yen. It's a really steep retracement here. You can draw in some tight trend lines, but they are, woo, they're looking intense. But you can see that there is, you know, there's stuff. We got stuff, and that's, you know, that's more of a steep trend line than I typically would ever look at. But I'm going to keep an eye on this thing, and if this dips below that trend line, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to get short dollar yen below that if it doesn't make a run up to 12100. But around 12100, I'm hoping for like a shooting star or something, you know, just a little bit of candlestick activity that's going to help me get really excited about getting short in this pair, because otherwise I'm already really excited and I do want to get short around 12100 dollar yen. So dollar yen I like short. Euro yen, for those of you that have been in the group and attended my Monday webinars and so on, we talked about the euro yen right here, breaking this rising wedge around 136. It ran down 350 pips the first run. Huge reversal, came back up and tested the trend line of this rising wedge where it broke out. Tested kind of some double top activity, and here it comes right back down again. I'm still looking for this big, crazy, wild head and shoulders pattern to play out. And so I really want to get into the dollar yen, or excuse me, the euro yen short. And I think we've got some pretty good opportunities here. The bottom of this little kind of crazy looking M pattern right here has already been breached, and we're already below about 13500, which was a semi-important level. I'd like to see some pullback, and I think we can get a decent amount of pullback on the euro yen to start shorting this one. Hopefully around 135.50, somewhere in that general vicinity. But I want to get short euro yen. I'm going to be looking for better setups throughout the week to get short in this pair and just trade this puppy straight down and down into the projected profit that we're looking for here of, you know, 12700 give or take. So I think there are several hundreds of pips to be looking at on this move down with euro yen. So that should be exciting. Pound yen is also a very, very good one. The pound yen is kind of tried to do a little bit of a, if you look at it on the 4-hour chart, it's kind of working on this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And so I've talked about that a little bit this week, but it doesn't, or last week, excuse me, but it doesn't seem like it wants to hold above any of these levels. It kind of peaks here and here and here, and it just doesn't really want to do much above about 18800. It seems to just be holding that over the last several weeks and just doesn't want to do much there. So what I'm looking for on the pound yen is a break of this little trend line right here. It got below the 200 moving average on the daily chart, and it seems to just be holding like crazy on that 200 moving average. Yen pairs are they've all run up straight up, and you know, I think it might be time for a little tiny bit of a pullback and a little bit of a correction. So that's what I'm looking for on pound yen. And I'm hopeful that we'll see a little bit of that sooner than later. So nice little rising wedge. Everything's looking good there. If we break this trend line and we start getting below, for sure I'm going to be short pound yen at around 18600. We're at 186.85, 18600. I will be short pound yen. Absolutely, and that starts to get us below some of these support levels and so on. But it may be sooner. I might be getting short below 186.50 as well, and that's a possibility. I'll be targeting about 18400, couple hundred pips on the first run. But this is going to be a good little trade, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be a long-termer probably, and we may need to just have, this will be either a great trade manager trade or we need to have a pretty massive stop loss. It's going to be one or the other on this one. Because once we get into this, we want to stay in it for a long time. So we're going to have like a 300 pip stop loss, and a 300-ish pip profit target, or it'll be just a good trade manager trade. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be a fantastic, excellent, amazing trade. Ralph's asking about the CAD yen, and I, for some reason, took some of the indicators off the CAD yen. The CAD yen is pretty similar in setups to most of these other pairs. Just like the dollar yen and some of these other ones, we've got this little bear flag kind of hanging in there and holding on. And so just like all the rest of those pairs, I think the Canadian dollar probably has a little more weakness to it. And if we see U.S. markets continue to push, then the yen might make its run as well. And so the CAD yen could be as good of an opportunity as euro yen, pound yen, dollar yen, and so on. I even like the Aussie yen. I think the Aussie yen's got a good little possibility for some trades coming up here as well. It's a little more choppy than some of the other ones, but Aussie yen should give us some nice opportunity as well. Here is a little quick short-term trade for everyone to keep an eye on. The Euro New Zealand, we've talked about this one a lot. The 4-hour chart's looking nuts and crazy. And as I've been sitting here for the last little while, I drew this trend line in and I watched the Euro New Zealand kind of break and pull and push around. And here it is from its breakout area, about 35 pips down and kind of counting. So keep an eye on this Euro New Zealand. Don't discount this for any reason. Any pullback should be looked at as opportunities to short and grab 50 to 75 pips out of it, give or take. On its way down to the 200 moving average. So the more it moves down there, and kind of takes that out, the more we can move into, buying big dips. But until it takes that big 200 moving average out, which currently sits around 174.25 or so, I'm still looking to short this one, even though it seems crazy to do anything with New Zealand strength and because we've seen some weakness in the New Zealand dollar, but I think this is going to be a great opportunity. So I'm going to be looking for that quite a bit this week. So those are some of the setups. I think we'll get an opportunity to short euro dollar with a little bit of pullback. We'll be keeping an eye on Aussie dollar, but not a lot of an eye. We're looking for an opportunity to trade the break on dollar yen or to short the rally on dollar yen. Either one of those could be great opportunities. We want to short the rally on euro yen. If this gets up 70, 80, 90 pips further up, then we're going to be shorting this thing down. Pound yen, we're going to be looking to sell the break between 186.50 and 186.00, and we're looking for a couple hundred pips on that move down. And we want to look for opportunities to short the break on Euro New Zealand as well, or short the pullback on Euro New Zealand. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think we're going to see I think we're in a stage of just swings. Everything's swinging. Nothing's really trending. It's just swinging. But the swings are big and they're fairly steady, which we can totally work with. I'm going to be somewhat surprised if we get massive trends that develop before the end of the year. I'll be honest. I'm going to be totally surprised by that. But as we've seen so far, we've had good swings, good movements, week after week, and there's definitely something for us to work with there. But trends that could be a few months out. But we've got enough volume back in the market that these swings are steady enough, and we can just make 100, 200, 300 pips at a time, which is fine. None of us are trying to shoot for much more than that per trade, anyways. And trends are just going to be probably put off for a while. And this will be a great opportunity for the indicator on like the 15-minute chart. So we're going to look at a lot of 15-minute trades this week and next week with the indicator. And, things that we can grab 40, 50, 60 pips out of, all the while looking for the bigger runs and bigger trades as well. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I think we should jump into. By the way, if anybody needs the indicator, you can go to you can go right here and get it. There's a little bit more stuff posted here for the indicator, and it'll tell you a little bit more about it, how to get it, how to install it, all of that stuff. So jump on there, get that indicator hooked up if you don't have it. It's my free indicator. You're all welcome to have it, take it, put it on MetaTrader, and love the crap out of it. And then jump into the group with us. on our live sessions and see how we use it and how it works. So anyways, that's what we're doing. Good luck. Any questions, comments, any currency pairs you want to look at, send them over right now. I'm totally ready for them.